Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our fourth Talent Matters webinar. Third webinar. Me, Dave Jenkins, CEO, founder of Wave, and Tom, our new head of business at Wave. We are back for another webinar series, I guess. Say hello, Tom.
Hey, guys.
How are we all doing? Hope you are well. Today we are talking about jobs and the unfortunate kind of the scarcity of jobs and the reducing of jobs available in the market. It's just been announced that we are in a recession, although I don't think that's a surprise to anybody that's out there. That's been just out there. I think it's fairly obvious that that's been happening. I'll turn my Bixby thing off. I don't know why it keeps talking like that. Listening all the time to everything that I'm saying. And then we just want to talk about the rise of the startup. I mean, there's a lot of negativity out there and a lot of bad press. And obviously there are a lot of terrible events happening around the world. But there is a huge opportunity to start a business right now, and we think that this is the best time to start a business. And I think if you can get through this, then you can pretty much get through anything. So that's what we're going to discuss and talk about today. Fairly informal chat between Tom and I. If you've joined us before, welcome back. So let's get kind of cracking. And I guess the bad news, Tom, is that we've seen people and businesses shedding people all the time. The furlough cliff edge is coming. We'll start with the bad news. People are losing their jobs, unfortunately.
Massive redundancies across all sectors, really, or most sectors, which is never nice. It's not easy to see or hear. It's so difficult for people. The stress it causes, the anxiety, the pressure it puts on people's finances and families. It's just overall not really a good thing. I suppose for some it might be a good thing. There are people who have been stuck in a job for a while that maybe aren't going anywhere, but haven't really had the guts to kind of make it final. So I suppose that there is a bit of positive as always, where it might be that catapult for certain people, but for a lot of people it'll be a very, very, very difficult and challenging time. I think the biggest problem with redundancies at the moment is, well, what do you do if you get made redundant? I mean, there isn't really enough jobs for everybody. I mean, it'd be one thing being made redundant in typical times, and you kind of brush yourself off, might have a little drink or whatever when you kind of get you get served your notice, but then kind of you brush yourself off and think, right, well, let's work out what I'm going to do from here. But I suppose that's pretty daunting at the moment, because there is just not really enough jobs for everybody at the moment. So many companies are still on a recruitment freeze, especially the big brands and corporates. I mean, maybe do these guys need to take a bit more responsibility? Do they need to start opening up jobs and actually start putting some of that money that they clearly have behind the economy and start filling the environment up with some jobs? Who knows? But yeah, not a great time, really, is it?
It's difficult, isn't it? Because when people are losing their jobs and they're applying for jobs that are there, we've seen the things in the news about the 1,000 applications, and that's all quite dramatic, but it's a reality. Some of the stats that I saw on Wave Tracker just a couple of days ago, got one job with 500, about 500 applications. One media channel generated about 300 applications on its own. That's a single act. And that's, if you think before, the average application applications you get for a job was 15, 20, and now you're getting hundreds. And the prospect is that it's just going to get worse with, the furlough scheme is a cliff edge. It is winding up. And although the unemployment rate hasn't moved in the latest report, the way that they define it is slightly bizarre, because they will look at the unemployment numbers based on people who are actively looking for a job. And we know that the people who have lost their jobs, but are also, we're in the summer, you're juggling childcare. There's so many people that have gone, there's no point even looking. I'll just, look after the kids. I'll spend a bit of time at home, and I'll look. So I think there was 730 odd thousand people who were now not on a payroll. So unemployment has gone up, and it will continue to go up as the furlough scheme squeezes and costs are rising. So it is going to get worse before it gets better.
100%. And I suppose this is why we've got to try and maintain a decent level of the candidate experience across all of this, because it's going to be really disheartening for people, because they know that they're going to be applying for jobs, and there are going to be a huge amount of people that they're going to be up against, and you're not going to know. I mean, 500 applications to one job. I mean, especially if a recruiter is running on, hasn't got much resource, they can't physically respond to that many people. So there are people out there that are probably, incredibly nervous, incredibly worried, got a huge amount of pressure on top of them, and they're applying for jobs and probably not really getting the experience or the response that they would need to maybe make them feel a bit more comfortable and confident, and that can spiral. That can have a big effect on people. So I suppose, again, like I've always said, we've all got to try a bit harder during these times to help other people out. I think this is, we can all do our best to keep our businesses going and trying to maintain steady revenue streams and all of the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. But I think we've got to have a bit of kindness and compassion during these times, and we've got to think about helping people where we can during these times, because this is the only way that we will get things back together. Because if we don't help others, then things will get worse, and it will just continue to collapse. So that's difficult. So if people can respond to people, even if they know that they aren't going to get a job, and maybe give them a bit of positivity or a bit of a boost, or give them a bit of advice where possible, then please do that. I think that's going to be really important.
I think you're right. I think so many people's kind of mental health is on knife edge with this. I mean, and some people have never lost their job. Some people have never lost their job. If you think, not so long ago, we had record employment. You had, almost more jobs available than people. So you've got people that have left university, left school. They might have been in a job for 5-10 years. They've never lost their job. And this is a brand new experience for them in a global pandemic. I completely endorse that. Recruiters, employers, candidates, interviewers, anyone that is involved in any sort of candidate experience. I know we always talk a lot about the tech for candidate experience, but actually candidate experience can be someone just phoning that candidate and saying, hey, thanks, I'm sorry you haven't got the job, you haven't gone through it, but thanks very much, and kind of good luck. Not going to mean a lot, but it might just help. It might just help them a little bit. And we don't want it to get worse, because we will suffer as a society.
I mean, it has the potential to put a strain on so many other services. We need our NHS right now. So we don't need people suffering severely with mental health, stress, anxiety, all of these things, because this is going to put a strain on the other services like the NHS, where they need to be occupied with people that are actually, well, not actually, but other people that are getting physically sick from COVID-19. So we've got to do a lot as humans to sort of help each other out and try our best to kind of weather this storm and get through. And that's we should be doing that anyway, really, as humans.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
yeah,
It's,
we have lost our way a little bit, so maybe this is an opportunity, maybe this is the positive, maybe this is an opportunity to kind of, get ourselves a bit more in tune with our human elements and start, tapping into to some of the more selfless emotions that we're capable of feeling and implementing those emotions and going out and connecting with other people and just providing a bit of humility and support to others. So
I'm smiling, Tom, because this is sort of, this webinar is almost a bit of an insight as to some of the conversations that you and I have had either at the start of a night or at an end of a night.
I need a beer. It feels like a beer chat, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it's true. This is all true. But let's move on to like some of the positives, so we don't get stuck on the negative. We are in recession. No, that's like the worst kept secret ever. So
it's actually going to change. I feel like we've been in a recession since bloody Brexit.
It just drives me nuts. You got the news outlets, with this sort of shock horror, we're in recession. That doesn't help anyone. Everyone knows we're in recession. Like you said.
I suppose in a way that's good because when the recession happened in 2008, it was all a bit of a shock for everybody. It was like this massive crash and everybody was running around like a headless chicken trying to work everything out. But we've been prepped for a recession since 2016. Really, this is people have been talking about this for a good few years now, saying we're going to go into a recession. We're going to go into a recession, and then I think the moment we locked down, it was kind of that's the recession. We kind of knew then that was the recession. So we've kind of already dealt with that, and we're seeing things pick up. So now that the BBC and the other media outlets are like we're in a recession, it doesn't actually feel like that's big news. It's like, well, that's a bit kind of dated. That's old news, really. We kind of know this, and we've kind of been preparing for that, and we're actually in a better position today than maybe we was a few months ago. So it's it may be official, but I think we're actually in a better position to kind of deal with that, and we're probably more adapted to that now anyway.
Yeah, no, I think so. And looking at the positive side of this, if you went back last year and you said, I'm starting my own business, the barriers to starting that business were probably you're in a well-paid job. The cost of starting was quite high. And the amount of competition that you faced was also very high. But still people did it. I think if you're going to start a business, generally you become quite narrow-minded in what you actually want to do, and no one could predict this. But for me, is there a better time, or is there not a better time to start your business right now?
I think from a mindset point of view, I think this is a bloody fantastic time to start your own business, because you've had a job. You may have had a senior job, good pay. You felt stable and secure for quite some time, and then your entire world has been rocked by COVID-19, and you have now felt all of the pressures that the world could potentially chuck at you through instability and uncertain times. So I think there is for some people that there will be a point where they will have a surging burst of energy where they will just say, do you know what, F this, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do, not the television, not the economy, not the virus. I'm going to determine what I'm going to do with my life, and I'm going to go out and create some flexibility and opportunities for myself, regardless of how difficult the time is. Because to be honest, the other side isn't that great anymore. anyway. So you kind of you're in a rock and a hard place anyway. So for some people they might just think, well, it might not be easy building my own business. It might be a crazy thing to do. It might put pressure and stress and worry and all of these things on top of me, and I've got to find my next meal, find my next paycheck myself. But on the flip side, you're kind of dealing with that anyway, because that security of that nice job that you had, the security of a prosperous economy, even your health and your well-being just isn't there. So it can be the catapult now for people, and it is, because I mean we're seeing it. How many people, how many startups have popped up since COVID-19, and you can guarantee when they sit down with their families and they tell them what they're going to do, they'll all be a bit of a shock and a bit of worry, and they probably might not get the motivation that they're probably hoping for from family members. But that when you actually weigh things up and you look at the environment, it can't really get any worse. So I suppose people are thinking, well, might as well give it a go and see what happens. If it doesn't work out, I'm in the same situation anyway.
This is exactly it. I mean, this was one of the things that I always thought, I really remember like exactly everything, because it was so long ago when I set up Wave. But there was always this thought, well, if it goes wrong, I'll just go and get a job. Yeah. A bit different now. No one would ever employ me now. But at the time, it was like, what is there to lose? And I was looking at you forget the type of companies that started up in the last financial recession: Uber, Groupon, Instagram, WhatsApp. How much are those companies worth now? That's a lot. And the thing is, you could argue and say, but that's not a recruitment business.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you look at the amount of recruitment companies that started up and the growth of recruitment. There was still 1,500 odd recruitment companies starting a year in the last in the last recession.
Yeah.
And if you're a recruitment company now, like if we, obviously we're running our micro business offer, which wasn't available before this.
Yeah.
You go to any of the suppliers that you need. You go to the job boards. You go to the CRMs. You go to the the financing companies. You'll pretty much get everything for nothing.
Yeah.
Your running costs are nothing.
Yeah.
Because of now. You wouldn't have got that last year.
No.
They're all been like this. Startup. You need this. You need this. You need this. Cost.
Yeah.
So they should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose maybe we should plug that business offer, because we are doing exactly what you just mentioned. We are helping startup because we want our economy to come back. We want our economy to grow. So look at what we're doing. I mean, we're offering people a website, plus our market leading multi-posting tool, plus our candidate management tool, all included, and for the first 3 months we're not even asking for payment, and then thereafter it's a monthly cost of 150 quid to run all those services. So what a great time to
and if you said that to me before, if you'd come to me before and said, Dave, got an idea, let's do this, I would have thought you're bonkers.
But this is what it goes back to, is we have to help people out now. This is the only way. And this is not the time for greed. This is not the time to profiteer off of this. We need to support everybody where we can to get businesses up and running and working, because if we don't, our survival is at risk. So people, and also just going back to the first point about recruitment companies and starting up right now, the recruitment industry is in desperate need, or has been in desperate need, for change. We have to look at different ways. The traditional model is dying out. Contingency recruitment has its flaws. And this is a great time for people to think, well, I'm a recruitment specialist, I'm a recruitment expert, but how can I do things differently? What can I bring to the market now based on the way that the world has changed and the way that we've all had to adapt, how can I still be a recruitment professional, still be a recruitment expert, but how can I do it in a different way? Where's, what benefit, what value can I add to organizations and people at the moment? And this is where I think the opportunity is for recruitment startups. Is we'll start to see hybrid sort of companies now, which is a bit of a combination of old traditional recruitment ways, merged with maybe new RPO embedded sort of solutions and services, etc.
So we've seen those, haven't we, already from some of the companies that have been contacting us? These sort of, exactly as you just described, something slightly different.
Talent acquisition as a service is now becoming a phrase, So it is a really good time to start a business. It's like anything. You've got to, you're going to have the optimists and you're going to have the pessimists. And right now, there will be a group of people that will want to power through.
Yeah. And the other thing to think about is we're not always going to be at, a negative 20% GDP.
Yeah.
Looking at the sort of growth from the last recession from a recruitment perspective, yes, it did contract. But when it came back stronger than what it was before. And typically, without sounding like an economist, which I'm not, but typically economies grow back stronger after a recession. So if you make it through these next couple of years as your startup, you will go into huge growth.
Yeah.
This is the time, and you're competing against companies that have fixed cost. We know that we've looked at our cost base, and there's some costs you just can't get rid of. If you're starting from nothing, then your cost base is is tiny. So you've immediately got an advantage against the bigger, more established players. And some of the more established players, this is where you guys have got to also lean up as much as you can, because there are a wave of startups coming, and guess what? They want to come and take your business. We'll see that as well in our business. There will be competitors that will come and see us. So
absolutely. I mean, like you said, I'm no economist either, but from the moment all of this sort of kicked in, I've always had the gut feeling that long term, this is going to be the best thing to happen to us as a society, as an organization, as an economy, because I do believe we will go into hyper growth, but I do believe people's mindsets will start to change as well. I feel there'll be a bit of a spiritual awakening, which I think is really important for our planet. And I think everything was going a bit stale. Everyone was getting a bit bored and fed up with everything, life in general, and that is not a human trait. Humans are pro-life. We are all about getting up and keep on going, and people were starting to slow down and just feeling a bit broken. So maybe, like I said, this is going to be an incredibly difficult and long journey, but I think once we do come out of it, there is that time for hyper growth, and there will be that time for some awakenings, and people start doing things differently, which I think is vitally important, not just for the economy and business, but for planet Earth and society. So.
I agree. Tom, we our last couple of webinars, we went over our time, so we say we were going to try and keep this one to 20 minutes. We're 3 minutes over that already. So let's wrap it up now. So thank you to everyone who have joined us again. Really appreciate you tuning in, if that's the right terminology. If you like what you are hearing, then please like, share, comment, spread the word. Join our future ones. We're going to be doing more of these, as I've said before. So stay positive. Don't watch the news too much, because it's all negative anyway. Bad news sells more than good news. Stay positive. If you're thinking about starting a business, then do it. It's the best time to do it now, as far as we're concerned. If you want any help, advice, anything, even if it's outside recruitment, then reach out to to me or to Tom, especially if it's a recruitment business and you want to talk about that micro business offer, then Tom is your man to speak to. He will run through that. And yeah, I think that's everything from
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, and see you next time. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, bye.